So students, today we will discuss about the metalloids as we discussed about metals and non-metals properties. So metalloids are those elements which have their properties intermediate to those of metals and non-metals. Okay, they it means that they behave both as metals and non-metals and exhibit the average properties of both. So some examples of them are metalloids, okay, which are boron, silicon, arsenic, antimony, and germanium. Okay, so on. So one more interesting thing is there that position of metals and non-metals in the periodic table. Okay, metals find their position at the left. Okay, we already discussed about it in the chapter periodic table. Okay, they mainly found in the position at left side of the periodic table. Suppose this is a periodic table and left side metals in the middle and the bottom of the periodic table, whereas non-metals are placed on the right hand side, and the right hand side mainly non-metals are present. Hydrogen, a non-metal, is an exception which is placed on the extreme left of the periodic table. Okay, as we know that its position still is not fixed. Okay, whether it comes to the metals or non-metals because it exhibit both of them properties. Okay, so that's why it is placed in the extreme left of the periodic table. Among the elements known to us, the majority is of metals. The number of non-metals is much less than those of metals. Metalloids are only a few. Okay, very few there are metalloids. Okay. So the activity series and extraction of metals based on activity series. Okay, in the last chapter you already read about electrochemical series. Okay, from the point of electrolysis. But this series not only provides the ease of information of cations by a metal or ease of discharge of a cation on cathode, but also provides an arrangement of metals. Okay, it also provides arrangement of metals in order of their decreasing reactivity. Therefore, on the basis of electrochemical series, metal can be arranged in the decreasing order of their reactivity. So, so we also known as electrochemical series as activity series of metals. So activity series of metals is the arrangement of metals in decreasing order of their reactivity in the form of a series is called activity series of metals. Okay, if you see the examples there, so tendency to mainly we already discussed about in the last chapter also. So if you go through only this diagram, okay, so tendency to lose valence electron reducing power, okay, electropositive character decreases when we move down the group of this activity series. Okay, so lithium has very much, if you say the electropositive character is very much of is aurum, okay, or of gold, and reactivity of metals decreases. Okay, and thermal stability of oxides also decreases as we move down the group. So first is the tendency of metal to get oxidized, to lose valence electrons. Okay, decreases on moving down the series. Thus, lithium placed at the top gets most readily oxidized. Then, then the reducing power of metals decreases on moving down the series. Thus, lithium is the strongest reducing agent, whereas gold is the weakest. Okay, the reducing power. This is the main things. Okay, this is the main things of metals. Okay, when we move down the series. Okay, it is the strongest. If you say the reducing agent is lithium, then the electropositive character of metal decreases on moving down the series. The reactivity of metal decreases on moving down the series. Thus, lithium is the most reactive element, whereas gold is the least reactive. So, a metal can displace any other metal placed below in the series from its salt solution. For example, zinc can displace copper from a copper sulfate solution. Okay, So in this series you can see, in this reaction you can see that zinc is displaced, okay, copper from its solution, because zinc is just above in the, if you say, if you see the reactivity table, okay, this one. Metal placed above hydrogen in the series can displace hydrogen from dilute acid, while those placed below it cannot. The thermal stability of the oxides of metal decreases in going from the top to the bottom of the series. Thus, oxides of potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium are very stable and do not decompose on heating. They cannot even be reduced by hydrogen, okay, cobalt or uh, carbon. On the other hand, the oxides of metal like mercury, silver, or gold, etc., are not much stable and decompose on heating. So these are the some characteristics. Mainly, you have to understand that the, if you understand about the displacement of the elements, okay, this is the main thing. Then extraction of metals based on activity series. The extraction of metals from its ores is basically a reduction process and involves the reduction of metal ions present in one ore of the metal of the other atom. Okay, this is the same thing which we do in electrolysis process. Okay, so we just extract a metal from its ores. Okay, the activity series is very useful in finding a suitable reduction process for the reduction of an ore of a particular metal. We have already seen the electropositive character of metal decreases on moving from top to bottom in the series. Consequently, the affinity of metals for oxygen and other electronegative elements, and hence the stability of their compounds decreases on moving down the series. Okay, so we have to, when we have to extract some metals from their ores, we can use this electrochemical series. So the metals usually occur as oxide, sulfide, sulfates, carbonates, etc. in nature. The oxides of metal are most easy to reduce. Okay, the main point is the oxides of metals are more easy to reduce. Therefore, the other types of ores, okay, which you, the example, if we see sulfides, carbonates, etc., are usually first converted into corresponding oxides. For example, if you see the example of zinc sulfate, okay, zinc sulfide plus oxygen is there, then it will convert it into its oxide, and when we provide heat to zinc carbonate, it also converted into its oxide form. Okay, so these oxides can then reduce by suitable method to obtain the respective metals. Okay, first, for the extraction of metals, what we do, we just change them in their oxide forms. Okay, then we use these uh, four methods. Okay, first is electrolytic reduction, chemical reduction, thermal decomposition, displacement from salt solution. A brief discussion of these processes and their utility for the reduction of a particular metal or oxide compound in the light of activity series is given. Okay, so first we have to understand about the electrolytic reduction. Okay, as the name suggests, there is reduction will be occur here in the presence of light. So electrolytic reduction involves the reduction of a metal oxide or metal salt by electrolysis and is used for the extraction of those metals which are placed near the top of the activity series. Okay, so potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, and aluminum. Okay, so mainly we use this process which are at the top of the activity series. Okay, the metals which are occur at the top of the series. So potassium, sodium, aluminum, etc. are highly electropositive metals. Okay, why using this method? Because these are highly electropositive metals. As we know, when we move down the group, electropositive character will be reduces. So they occur at the top of the series, so they are highly electropositive. Due to very high electropositive character, they have a strong affinity for oxygen. Okay, therefore, their oxides and other salts are very stable and cannot be reduced easily by ordinary reducing agents. Okay, so we cannot use any reducing agent for them. Therefore, these metals are extracted by the electrolytic reduction of their salts. If we take example magnesium chloride, okay, when it but it should be in its fused condition, okay, it converted into its ions, then at the cathode, okay, same thing is there that we will it gaining electron and converted into its magnesium metal, we will get the metal form, okay, and then uh, two molecules of chlorine also evolve there. So if you see the structure of you can make in the terms of electrochemical series also, okay, you already understand these things what happen in the electrolytic reduction. Then aluminum oxides also we get the aluminum, okay, metal there by this process, and oxygen also evolved in this process. Okay, so this is the main thing which you already read about, that you can make the aluminum and one side this in other experiment, okay, you can make magnesium like this, you can join then with the battery, and these things will be same which you read in the electrolysis process. Then chemical reduction, the metal occupying their position in the middle of the activity series, okay, like zinc, iron, stainless, lead, copper are less electropositive. They possess lesser affinity for oxygen. Therefore, their oxides and other compounds are less stable and can easily be reduced by chemical reduction process. Okay, so chemical reduction involves the reduction of a metal oxides into the respective metal by a common reducing agent like carbon, carbon monoxide, or hydrogen. Some examples are given below. Okay, so reduction by carbon, if you see their oxide, when we just add the oxide, okay, and react with carbon, and we heat provide them, and we will get easily zinc from their oxide, okay, and from lead oxide we can get lead, and from copper oxide we can get copper. Okay, main thing we have to just extract the metals. So reduction by carbon monoxide also we get the iron. Okay, ferrous oxide, when reacted with carbon monoxide we will get the carbon, and CO2 is evolved here. Same thing is for lead oxide, okay, when heated with carbon monoxide we will get the lead, and copper oxide when heated with carbon monoxide we will get the copper by this chemical method. Okay, then reduction by hydrogen, if you see the reduction by hydrogen, copper oxide plus hydrogen there when react with copper, okay, when it will react with copper oxide hydrogen, it we will get the copper, and same thing will for the other processes also. Okay, now we will read about the occurrence of elements in nature, uh, in natural form, how they occur. First is in their free state. In free state or native state, when an element occurs in nature, as if you such example, the in the elemental form, it is said to be in free state or native state. क्या कर रहे हो तुम यार? नहीं, कहाँ हुआ अभी? यहाँ धूल निकाल लेगा तुम. Sorry students, I am getting some cold today. Okay, so it is said to be free state. In native state, the elements which are less reactive or which are ordinarily not reactive at all can only occur in the free state. The less reactive metals like gold, silver, platinum, and less reactive non-metals like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, etc. Ordinary inert elements like helium, neon, organs occur in free state in nature. Okay, these elements which are less reactive occur in nature. Okay, in the free state. Then combined state. Free state means they occur individually. In combined state, when an element occurs in the form of any of its compounds, the element is said to be combined state. Okay, all the reactive elements occur in combined state. Reactive metals like sodium, potassium, calcium. Okay, you already know the sodium chloride occur. Okay, in the form of common salt. So these occur in the combined state. Then reactive nonmetals like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, etc. always occur in combined state in nature. The elements having moderate reactivity may occur both in the free state as well as in the combined state in nature. Elements like copper, iron, sulfur, etc. occur in both states. Okay. So metals, minerals and ores. Most of the metals occur in the earth crust in combined state associated with sandy matter and other impurities. The compounds of metals which occur in earth crust are obtained by minerals are called minerals. Okay, mining from the mines you already hear the term mines. Okay, coal mine etc. So the compounds of metal which occur in the earth crust and are obtained by mining are called minerals. A mineral is either a single compound or a complex mixture of several compounds of the same or different metals. A metal may occur in the form of several minerals containing different percentage of it. A mineral having very low percentage of the metal is not much useful as the cost of the metal obtained from it is high. Hence, all minerals of metals are not equal useful. Okay, the minerals from which a metal can be extracted profitably are called ores. Thus, all the ores are minerals, but all minerals are not ores. Okay, which we discussed in last chapter in brief. So ores may be classified into following categories: native ores, sulfide ores, oxide ores. These ores contain metals in their elemental form associated with alluvial impurities like clay and sand, etc. Sulfide ores: in these ores the metal are present in the form of sulfides, and in oxide they are present in the form of oxides. Okay, then in oxide also oxide ores, carbonate ores, sulfate ores. Okay, bauxite, ginsite, other examples also there: magnesite, calamine. Sulfate ores are barytes. Okay, epoximite and gypsum is also example of sulfate ores. Gypsum is very important, which is used to be make of plaster of Paris. Sometimes is asked in exam also. Then halide ores. Okay, halide ores are, these ores are not very common and are formed only by sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, aluminum, and silver. For example, rock salt. Okay, these are the example of halide ores. So now there is some common ores and their occurrence in India is given, that it will be important that you have to know their common name, okay, in them, and place of occurrence of India. If mainly we see the example of iron, okay, there three forms are there of that: hematite, magnetite, and iron pyrite. Okay, Fe2O3 means hematite, Fe2O3 dot FeO, okay, or Fe3O4 is known as magnetite. It is mainly occur in Bihar and Karnataka. Then aluminium, aluminium commodores are bauxite. Okay, it is occur in only one form. Yes. Okay, so aluminium, we talk about the aluminium is occur in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, and Jammu. Gypsum These are the question for your general knowledge, because these are mainly not coming in exam, but in competitive exam they ask these things. Gypsum occur in the Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Jammu Kashmir, and Gujarat. Okay, calcium occur in three forms: gypsum, limestone, and fluorosulfur. Zinc is blended jet zinc sulfate. Okay, Rajasthan. Copper pyrites, CuFeS2, and it's occur in mulches, malachite. Okay, and it occur in mainly Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. Lead Lead's common ore is galena. Okay, and it occurs in Rajasthan, Bihar, not much abundant in India. Okay, lead is not occurring much abundant. So then we have to understand about the extraction of metals from ores. Okay, what are the general principles? Okay, as we know that we already seen that a large number of metals occur in combined state in the form of their oxide, carbonate, sulfide, okay, sulfate, silicates, phosphate, etc. The ores of these metals are usually associated with rocky and siliceous impurities. Okay, the impurities associated with ores are collectively called gangue or matrix. Okay, so these are the same terms. Okay, not different that you call a gangue or called matrix. Okay, as the Yogendra Bist is right, Bist Yogendra and Yogendra Bist is same thing. So like this gangue or matrix also same thing. Okay, so the most common component of gangue is silica. The process of extraction of a metal from its ore involves mainly the reduction of the ore into pure native metal. Okay, it is forthcoming in the forthcoming discussion. We shall study various metallurgical operations involving the extraction of metals from its ores. So first is metallurgical processes. The process of extraction of a metal in the free form. Okay, its source is referred to as metallurgy. So the metallurgy of a particular metal involves several physical and chemical processes known as metallurgical processes. The choice of suitable metallurgical processes for the extraction of a metal from a particular ore depend upon the ore and the chemical properties of the metal. Okay, therefore, it is not possible to adopt a common scheme. We cannot adopt a common scheme for all the metals to extract them. Okay, so there are some common steps also there, in which you can see that first is concentration or beneficiation of the ore. Okay, these are the common things which we have to do first. Then production of metal from the concentrated ore. Then purification of crude metal. A general scheme of various metallurgical operations employed for the extraction of metal from ores is given ahead. Okay, so some examples. So if you see, first we have some ore. Okay, then we find that the concentration of the ore. Okay, by crushing and grinding. Then magnetic separation we can do. Then we can do for flotation or leaching in last. Okay, then if we get concentrated ore, then what uh, activity we'll do? We will do roasting, calcination. Okay, reduction, chemical reduction, electrolytic reduction. This is the production of metal from the concentrated ore. Okay, we will go through in detail, then you can understand these processes very easily. Crude metal, then we will get the crude metal. Okay, after that, then we have to purify that crude metal by the processes of liquefaction, polling, electrolytic refining. Then we get the, at last, pure metal. Okay, so now we will discuss about the some stages which involved in the extraction of metals. First is crushing of ores or pulverization. Okay, this is known as pulverization. Larger pieces of ore obtained from earth crust are broken up into smaller pieces. This process is known as crushing. Okay, crushing, you already understand this term. So whenever larger particles are broken up into smaller particles or pieces is known as crushing. So first, what we do for this process, we do dressing or concentration of ores, which we read in first process also in the just a general scheme which we'll saw. So for this, presence of earth matter, rock matter, sand, limestone, mica, etc. in ores is known as gangue or matrix. Okay, so mainly these are the things which are the impurities found, okay, in any ore. So removal of these impurities from ores is called as dressing or concentration. Okay, so whenever we remove these impurities like rock matter, sand, limestone, etc., okay, it is known as dressing or concentration. Then following methods are commonly used for dressing up of the ore depending upon the nature of the ore. Okay, we can use any of them, okay, depending on the nature. If it is easily get concentrated by hand picking, so we use hand picking method, okay, by select them. Then we use levitation or gravity separation or hydraulic washing method. Okay, figure also given on your book that you can see concentration of ore by gravity separation. Okay, so in this method, the separation by specific gravity method is based on the difference in specific gravities of the gangue particles and ore particles. The powdered ore is agitated with water or washed with a running stream of water. Lighter impurities are washed away with flowing water, leaving behind heavier ores which are settled down. Generally, oxides in carbonate ores are concentrated by these methods. Okay, mainly lighter impurities will be washed away by this method if you see in the figure. Okay, then heavier particles because of gravity is just uh, combined, okay, and settle down in the beaker which we take for the process. Then next is magnetic concentration method. It means we use some magnet there for the separation. Okay, so in magnetic concentration method, this method is used when either ore or gangue has strong ferromagnetic nature. Okay, which if you see the example of iron, tin, or ferromagnetic impurities are thrown between magnetic poles, which attracts ores or poles. Okay, so this is the example. If you see, these are the magnetic ores and impurities are just revolve around them. Okay, then what happen? The magnetic poles, okay, which attract ores on poles. Example are wolframite. A magnetic ore is separated from the non-magnetic ore. Okay, cassiterite. Okay, stannous oxide by this method.